Welcome into another video, everybody. And in this how-to video, we're going to talk to you about how to mock draft using fantasypros.com. I think this is going to be a very smart tool for especially beginners, but even veterans alike. Everybody uses these tools, but I'm going to definitely go over all the aspects you need to get in there and mock draft and to see how things are going to you, so you can see what ADP is actually looking like. But without further ado, let's get to the mock draft. All right, y'all. Now that we're over at fantasypros.com, in order to get to this screen right here, you want to go over to the top where it says NFL, and you're going to go down to where it says mock drafts. After you click on mock drafts, you're going to see this right here. So this is where you can kind of configure what your league is. So you need to know what type of league you have. Do you have a standard league, a PPR league, or a half PPR league? You can put that right here. Then you want to make sure you probably put snake. The snake is normally how everything works out with most people. Select the number of teams that are in your league right here. And you also want to select what your draft position is, and you can put that right here. Now we drop down to where the roster positions are, and based on how your leagues are, everything's different. If you have one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, one tight end. If you have a flex, you put the wide receiver, running back, tight end right here. If you're in a super flex league, do the one below this, which is quarterback, wide receiver, running back, and tight end. If you have defenses, you make sure you put a one here. If you have kickers on your league, which you probably shouldn't, but if some leagues still do, if you have a kicker, that's where you'll put it right there. And then make sure you put how many bench spots you have right here. After you fill out the roster positions, what I want you to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom here, and you want to click start your draft. One thing before you hit start your draft, make sure where it says pick clock, make sure that is chose to none. Now go ahead and start your draft, and this is the screen you're going to be seeing. The draft wizard is going to pop up. It's going to show you where all you're picking. And then now that it's your turn, I picked 12th position, which is good, but you're going to see the draft log over on this side. This right here is where you can see where the last people have been picked. And in the center, it's going to suggest some players for you. So being that we're picking on the 12th spot and Ja'Marr Chase is on the board, which is a pretty good spot for Ja'Marr Chase in a redraft league. Over here, it shows a percentage of what the experts agree of whether or not you should actually pick this player at this position. So it kind of shows you where things are kind of heading out. But if you want to click over here at the roster position, this right here is going to open up what your team is looking like. So it shows you quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, tight ends, and a flex. In this example, I didn't put any defense or kickers in there, and then all of your bench spots. So you're going to be able to keep track of who you have picked in this draft, so you can make sure you're making the best picks possible. Now, heading back over to the rankings list, you want to look at the tiers. There's tier 2s and tier 3s. There's all types of tiers that Fantasy Pros does for you, but let's just say for argument's sake, we want to pick Ja'Marr Chase. All you do is you click on this draft button right here, and he's going to be added to your team. Now, since we're 12th, we have back-to-back picks. You want to look at the roster, see what's going on. 62% of the experts agree that Cooper Kupp would be the suggestion right here. So we're going to go ahead and take Cooper Kupp as well. And you don't have to go based on the suggestions that they are giving you. You can do whatever your own personal sheet is, but this kind of gives you an idea of how ADP is going to happen out, and if you have the 12th pick in the draft, who will be falling for you. So if we go back over here and click on the roster button, we then see our team is starting to fill out with Ja'Marr Chase and Cooper Kupp. So that's kind of how you're going to keep out with how the draft goes. And I'm not going to go through this entire draft, but I want you guys to see how do you utilize this type of system to see who is going to be there. So now you know, and it's the third round right now, who is falling down for you. We already have two wide receivers. What do you want to do? Do you have Josh Allen on the board if you want to go quarterback? It's too rich for my blood. The best running backs available, Javonte Williams for the Denver Broncos, DeAndre Swift. And if you don't necessarily want to pick these players, you can always go over here and look at the side. And at the top, you can go by position as well. So if you know you want a running back, you can click the running back button here. Once you click the running back button, it only lists the running backs available for you to pick at this position. So Javonte Williams, DeAndre Swift, Dameon Pierce, J.K. Dobbins, Alvin Kamara, Akers, things like that. So you go along and you keep drafting throughout the league and seeing who you want to pick. Let's just say, for argument's sake, we go ahead and grab Javonte Williams here, and we'll take I don't know, a quarterback at Keenan Allen, so our Josh Allen. So we're gonna let this run just a little bit more, but this is kind of just an idea of how to use mock drafting to your advantage. So now if you click on your rosters up here, you can kind of see your team shaping out, how it's going to be, and this is just how you manage your team. Make sure you have the draft log over here you're looking at. Make sure you're looking at your team construction, your roster construction, who you think is going to be available, and then you can just use this and you can see how the experts kind of are talking about on Fantasy Pros, or who they think you should pick, and kind of start building your strategy on how the actual draft is going to pan out for you. So this is really the bare bones basics of how to get into a mock draft, how to create your mock draft, and to use fantasypros.com. So I hope this video really helped you kind of dip your toes into the water on how to mock draft, what to look for, and kind of just show you around a little bit at fantasypros.com where to mock draft. I normally mock draft there mostly myself, but there's a lot of websites that you can mock draft in. I just like Fantasy Pros because I've used it for years, but hopefully it helps you overall to kind of understand the basics of getting into that, so you can start learning ADP and where things are starting to fall. But hey, look, we have a huge how-to series coming out here for everybody who's really new, getting into fantasy football, want to know the basics, that way you can be successful in your fantasy league. But we have tons of videos coming out. I can't wait to help you guys reach the championship year in and year out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'm always here to help you guys. Can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.